Bye.
Hey guys, so welcome back. As mentioned, today is my first episode of what I call Clean and Chat. So well done to Tay. He came up with the Clean and Talk. I just figured I'd just add the chat. I think that's quite a nice name, so kudos to you. I'll meet up with you, buddy, and I will give you that little hamper. But yeah, Clean and Chat is going to be very candid. There's no script. There's no like something I'm going to be following. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be discussing and chatting with you guys what's happening with MD Workshop, some of the stuff, also what's on my mind within the car scene. I think that's generally what I'm going to be doing, just having just a general conversation, monologue with you guys to tell you, my headspace, where I'm at, where the company's at, and where I think the car scene as a whole is at. Obviously, detailing will be a huge part of that, but I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think about this at the end of the episode, or even during. I'm going to try and keep this under an hour. It's going to be difficult, but let's get into it. So I have actually used the foam cannon, one of my spare ones, to blanket the wheels and the tires and the inner fender lining. I just didn't like it. I much prefer this. However, I'm not too happy with the length of time. It foams up very nicely. That's quite nice. It just doesn't hold the pressure as long as what I would like it to hold. I have actually inquired with another company, and I've also got hold of, IK. So obviously, being in South Africa, it's a little more difficult to get things, but let's see what happens. So, with regards to my monologue, that I left on Facebook and on Instagram, having been involved in and still being involved in a lot of car shows and dealing with different peoples and different ideas, I still stand by my initial and what I said on there, that I think too many times there are decisions are made and not looking at the whole thing holistically. And what I mean by that is, I get it, if you're going to go to a classic car show, you expect a certain level of, a certain caliber of cars to enter, no doubt. And, unless it's stated that it's a concourse and, that you want original XYZ, then all parties that come to a show like that understand. But in general, if it's just like a car meet and it's like the general hookups, I have seen way too many times people are discounted because they went with the DSW rim, and they went with a rep or something. And you have to ask yourself a question like, what's the individual thinking? Now, I mean, there can be a lot of reasons. One, it could just be that they just don't have the finances to buy, you know, where's this thing now? Give me 1 second. They just don't have the finances to buy a nice rim. Their situation just doesn't justify spending 30,000 rand for a set of rims. Their finances just doesn't allow that. It could also be that you know, they just don't want to pay that amount of money. They just think that it's just not for them personally. It's not feasible. They just don't like spending that amount of money. However, they are still, you know, they are car fanatics, and they love cars, so they have a price in which they are comfortable with. It happens. I mean, I think that is a lot of us, if I'm not mistaken. Whether or not I can afford, you know, that amount of money, I shouldn't be discounted or frowned upon because you can afford that amount of money for them. Or before I forget, I actually want, because I can see it here, do yourself a favor and get these easy wheels. Pop them here, especially if you've got a long hose and the car's a little bit far. You know, you're gonna carry the your hose pipe or the pressure hose, and you want to get to that place where you want to go that side, and all of a sudden it's stuck here. So these things really work. You know, we're doing rally builds now, stuff that was really, you know, you had to send it to a shop. A lot of the stuff can be done at home. You know, the likes of Ardendorf and companies like Midas and you know, those type of companies, they have made very specialized stuff available to the public, you know, to us car fanatics. So the build is really, you know, air suspension, nicely done interiors, spray jobs, you know, the lips and the side skirts and the roof spoilers. It's really, you know, we really have come a long way. But in the same, you know, at the same breath, I don't want to go, you know, overboard it, but the assumption that you have to buy this and you have to follow this if you want to be in this scene, that's the assumption I get, that you're not a true car fanatic if you buy a rep. And I get it. There are companies that spend lots of money manufacturing certain, you know, from magnesium and different light alloys to make sure that it's still strong, but it's light. But for a huge majority of South Africans, you know, that is just not feasible. They just can't afford that amount of money. You know what's the crazy thing? And me being in sales and with being you see what I mean? I now have to pump it again. So that's the only drawback of this, but as you guys saw, it forms up very nicely. Also, what I would think would be a nice thing is, I know like with the garden hose sprayers, they have a little pressure relief valve. So, you know, when you pump to a certain point, instead of me having to pump the whole time, if it builds up too much pressure, just let it, you know, get that little hissing noise comes out. Then you know, okay, it's done. You know, you've created a lot of pressure. So another thing to think about. So I was saying, another thing within the car world, and this I know for a fact. And I don't know why, but certain brands of detailing products, if you are a true car lover, then you have to use, this brand of products. And if you use that brand of products, then, kind of like you're the lesser man. And I'm like, seriously? Now, with me being directly involved with production for the company that I work for, and so yes, I do have a day job, and yes, MD Workshop is, as we currently say, my side hustle, but I don't like using that word. Side hustle means like something to keep me busy. Detailing has always been a passion of mine, and the car world. What the heck is that now? Oh, the cover for the lights. All right, need to put that back. And I'm like, I will ask these guys, like, okay, have you used, like, one of the things is I would use Maguire's anytime over Shield. And I'm like, okay, fine, that's not a problem. But why are you discounting the Shield products? Is it because it's well priced? Are you assuming that because it's well priced, it can't work? It's not going to work the same as Maguire's or Sonex or Wax or whichever other premium brand in your mind you think, classifies as this is the proper thing. And I think and I always ask guys, okay, I get that, I get what you're saying, I don't agree with it, but when someone says the products are pH neutral, how do you know? Or are you just going by what the packaging says? And I'm not lying, guys, and I won't name the companies because that just doesn't, just ethically, it's just bad, and also shows, lack of integrity to want to just slate the company just for the sake of it. But I'll tell you this, my chemist and I, we have measured, where people say pH neutral on leather cleaners and car shampoos, and then you find that the stuff is sitting at 9.2, sitting at, what's the other one I saw, it was 10.8 or something like that, and I'm like, so much for being pH neutral. And my very good friend, I'm waiting for him to comment. There's a history behind this car. So very low mileage, 2008 model. It's actually an N47 spec, but it's an N47 with the pre-faced body, everything else on the inside. The electronics is the N47, so the facelift. So what that tells me is that they started making the motors, or most likely what happened was with the pre-facelift, this is what I think. They made these, there were probably engines that blew on the old M47 motor, and so they used any spare motors that was going to be assigned to the pre-facelift. They used those engines, and so they had made new bodies, they had these old bodies with engines, the old engines, and so they just transferred all the new stuff, the facelift edition motor, computers. That's what I think. The only thing that makes sense though. This is just all-purpose cleaner. So something like Blade, Clean Green, or one of my favorites is Blixen. Very, very good all-purpose cleaner. However, you just need to make sure, if you do use that, guys, follow the dilution ratio. It's very high in this alkaline. I measured it at 12.83. That's very, very high. But it is a great cleaner. Blade and Clean Green, they're also very, very effective. The only thing with them is that they aren't so aggressive. So I think they have a lot more user friendly, especially around the house, you know, around delicate things. You know, and they smell very nice. So yeah, this, I've got Blixen in here. One drawback, it doesn't smell nice, not at all. And yes.
Mommy says please can you fetch them?
All right. That's fine. That's my daughter. So yeah. So you guys will see just now my leg. So my big gate fell. It had come off the rails. I didn't know. Went through the small gate in the big gate. Just put my foot through, and it just needed a little extra. Came over my head. Fortunately, it didn't hit me behind, but my leg got stuck in between. That was about 5 years ago, and as such, there was 5 years later, there was like a cyst that had grown here, but it was too big, man. It was about, they measured at, the one was like 10 centimeters, and it's quite wide. And the best way I can describe it was that, imagine a balloon filled with water on the inside of your, like so on the inside of your skin. And as you're walking, it's just, you know, just jellyfishing, just blah, blah, blah. But it had become very painful. I mean, I dealt with the pain, you know, over the years, but for the past 3 months, it was just like, no, this is not normal. So they operated, cut it out, and as of this past weekend, I hadn't been driving at all. I figured, you know what, let me start just fetching my daughter now, my baby girl at the nursery school. So because it's sitting here, as you guys can see, I don't know if you can see it there. You know, it's right here by the ankle, a lot of pressure, a lot of weight. So when I'm driving, my SUV, you know, the seats are quite high, so it's when I sit like this, it's very sore. So I have to sit on one of my other cars a little bit lower. I sit more like that, so that helps a lot. But from next week, Monday, I'm going to be back at work. I can't sit at home anymore. But I think it has healed quite nicely. I still do limp. There's still quite a lot of pressure because they still have all the staples and pins in there, which still needs to be removed tomorrow. So, yeah. Anyway, where was I? So I was saying that, you know, within the car world, we have made a lot of progress. I'm talking about specifically South Africa, right? Anyone watching overseas, let me know about you guys. But I think, you know, like America has definitely led the way with regards to, you know, stuff that we, how do I put this? You know, like the general saying that if the world was invaded, it will start in America first. But I think you guys, because I do know that I have quite a few American subscribers. You guys have definitely led the way with regards to, you know, a lot of new things, new concepts, new ways of doing things. And, you know, with South Africa, I think it took, I don't know why it took so long, but what happened was when we started, you know, changing the game, like with air rides and with regards to, what's this, coilovers, it happened at such an accelerated pace. You know, we weren't even fully into the coilovers, and then we already started. The guy started experimenting with the air suspension. Sure, this one is a lot dirty. I have to do this again. And what makes it, you know, what really made me think proud, or just like said well done, was the level of how it was done. You know, the guys really they didn't just put it together for the sake of it, but they really did a good job. Or they've done. Sure. Yeah, so the guys have really done, you know, like the work ethic has been brilliant. I mean, I know my one guy, Strat from FS Projects, that dude has done, you know, the builds that he's done for air rides, very nice. And you know, what was started out, from what I know, as even with him doing it at home, doing it for friends, you know, was brilliant from the get-go. And every single other person or company that's done air rides, they've done it well. I mean, the displays, the piping, you know, the compression, all the lines that feed into it, it's just, it looks, you can see that the guys know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and that's nice. And it brings me back again to my, call it rant. You know, the guys have, I'm saying, don't discard someone that's, you know, that's got humble beginnings. If he doesn't have the money, doesn't have the money. He's doing a few things with what he has. And let's recognize that, you know. He or she does not need maybe a trophy, but, you know, and that's what I'm going to be doing with these interviews. There's quite a few that I've got lined up. I just want to give, with the small platform that I have, and I mean, I'd like it to grow, but I'm not chasing for, no, we're going to do this so we can grow the numbers. I don't know, guys, for those of you that have watched thus far, let me know what you think. Like, is what I'm saying, does it make sense? Am I perhaps missing something? Am I perhaps trying to sensationalize something that really doesn't need to be? You see what I mean? If there was a little pressure release valve here, so I can feel I've pulled quite a bit of pressure, but sometimes if you haven't locked it here, you can do that and it still won't form up quite nicely. But I mean, I can still go. So I don't know if that's enough, so that would be quite nice. I mean, I know I can do it myself, but I don't want to. Then with regards to MD Workshop, a lot of people ask me, so, like, where did I get the name from? And so, it was first, or let me put it like this, in an endeavor to differentiate myself, I came up with this name. I looked at, okay, my car detailed. And I looked at the various ways that you can say that. And so the first one that I went with, and because I really love this culture, I was hoping to take my wife, but then COVID happened. So we will go when the outside is opened again. Was Spanish. So Mercado de Talanto. So that's the initial name. Mercado de Talanto means my car detailed. And I liked it at first. Up until, because I created like a little fan page that's attached to my profile. It's still there, Mercado de Talanto. And you'll see if you go on there, you see the reach of it was quite nice, but then people started using it for not the right purposes. People that were selling as they call grits or pop and cement and things, and I was like, no. I understand it. People want to, that they're struggling, but I'm not selling food. I'm selling chemicals. And so I realized, okay, I need to change the name, but I still want to keep it though. And so, but I also realized, you know what, even though detailing will probably still be the huge part of what it is that I do, I'm still very much a car fanatic, so I want to keep the name plus something to identify what it is that I do. So workshop, workshop embodies everything about a car, front and back, inside, outside, underneath. And so I figured, okay, MD workshop. So the company is registered, MD Workshop. My domain is registered under that. And the website. So the website for my staff. And so for now, it's only 3 of us, and so we all make use of info at mdworkshop.co.za. There's a lot of opportunity for growth. There's a lot of opportunity for the company, and that's what I'm working towards. But for now, I think one point of it's not there yet. It's still, I'm busy laying down the groundwork and everything. And once it really starts to pick up, then I will, then I will let you guys know about the various different email addresses, sales and stuff, But because I still have my day job, which I really love, and So you'll see I don't have any stickers on the buckets, and that's because I'm working on some artwork for wash, rinse and wheels. And then also I meant to say this earlier, when with the wheels bucket, I'm actually looking for a bucket that is a lot thinner and a lot taller, so that it can cover all the brushes quite nicely. Just one for a little bit of extra. So yeah, I'm looking for a wash bucket. I just want to show you guys. So you guys can see over here. So I'd like, the bucket to be tall enough that this brush is completely covered in water. Instead of using, like a normal 20 liter that's quite big, it's a lot of water in there. So a nice thin one, it's a little bit taller. That's what I would like to do. Then with regards to washing mediums, I've also got a lamb's wool, and then this one is microfiber and lamb's wool, and just microfiber. I find in this situation here, the microfiber, me personally, works a little bit better. I think it's just the fibers in is a lot more geared towards removing dirt. For general, if you're gonna wash your car on a regular basis, like every week, I think this one is quite nice. The wool one is actually, in terms of feel, that's a lot better. It glides a lot nicer on the surface of the car. So 2 bucket wash method. Yeah, I think some of you are gonna ask, why don't I buy the, those what you call it, the ones with the dollies, where you can put the bucket in there. Shoot, sorry about the guys, the mic unclipped itself here. Let's just make sure that it is still working 100%. It's my fault, I didn't clip it in properly. Let's try again. There we go.
You want the Oreo?
Oh, thank you. You can have it.
Are you going to eat it now?
I'll eat it just now.
Okay.
That's my little daughter asking me if I want an Oreo. She's very persistent. She'll ask till I say yes. So yeah, let me bring you in on what is happening with this car. Or before I carry on, guys, 2 bucket wash method. Yeah, this is your rinse. Use the grid guard, so that you can actually, don't just dunk it in there. Don't dunk your washing medium in there. Use the grid guard. Take the cloth, rub it up against the grid guard so that you can dislodge any dirt that's in here. Alright, so my E90 320D, as I said, is a 2008 model. It's currently on 128,000 kilometers true mileage. So what happened was, and true story this is, I'm not saying this because I'm not trying to take the blame for it, but my wife So I initially bought this car for my wife, and we bought it on what? No, we bought it on 70,000, like it had just ticked over on 70,000 kilometers, and yeah, brilliant car, really. Even though it's an M Sport, it was quite nice to drive. Comfort levels were there, and yeah, the first year of ownership was lekker. Sent it in for a service. Everything was 100%. And the one day I get a call from my wife saying, "Babe, listen, I'm driving, and I saw this yellow light, and then I saw a red light, and the car just decided to slow down." So I said, "Oh, okay." It went into limp mode. Good. And she managed to pull over. I said, "Okay, fine. Where are you now?" So I stay in Alberton, and she was on N12. N12 East. And she was at Xavier, or just before Xavier. So, okay, no, cool. You know what? You're not far, but I'm going to phone the tow truck. I'll meet you there. But I'll phone the tow truck in the meantime to come and pick you up. Phone the tow truck service. They say they'll dispatch a van shortly. I get a phone call about 5 minutes later. "No, listen, I managed to start the car, and I'm on my way home." I'm like, "What?" It's like, "No, the car's driving." I'm like, "Okay, fine." Obviously, me being a little bit like, I'm confused. I'm like, "Okay, fine." She gets home, and I can hear the car. It's idling, but it's like, you know your car. You know how it's supposed to sound, especially if you're a car guy. Like, okay, you know what, my car is not supposed to sound like this. And she pulls in. I said, "Okay, well, you know what? Just park the car. Let me see what's going on." I let the car down, cool down, and I checked the water levels. About an hour later, check the oil level. I open up the oil cap. So everything's fine. I don't see any mayonnaise looking type of texture underneath it. So I breathe. I breathe a sigh of relief. The worst sigh of relief I could have ever done. So anyway, following day, I tell her, "You know what? Use the Volvo. I'll use the BM." So I start it up. Starts fine. But as I'm driving, it heats up quite quickly. And I get this, I get the warning sign, the yellow sign. And then I hear the high-speed fan. I've never heard it before. For anyone that has a BMW, will know what that thing sounds like. And the fan goes up. Phew, it was like really blowing. And there I get the what you call this? I get the red light. And but what happened was I wasn't far from home, so I just pulled over. And somewhere along the line, I can say it wasn't me, but I think as my wife made her way home, the head gasket had popped, overheated, and ever since then, this car has just been an unfortunate repairable for me. So I went online, saw a lot of people say no, you know, something's happened to them similar. It's the EGR cooler. Okay, now fine. This one forum, this guy described everything that I was experiencing, and he also attributed it to his EGR cooler. I'm like, okay, fine, let me get one of those. Get it, fit it, same issue. I'm like, oh man. And that's why, the side story, I don't know if you guys saw, I dunked the wash mitt into the washing solution first before the rinse. So either have a sticker on or use a different color bucket so you can associate, you know, which one you do. Anyway, I then started seeing, okay, you know what, this car is faulty, the head gasket has popped. So I start questioning around, going to go see people, who can I take the car to, and I eventually find someone not too far from me, literally around the corner from me. This guy is his company is a supposed, you know, BMW. They are the fundis, and I take the car to them, and they tell me one thing after the next, and I tell them, no, do it. It came time when they were done, the repair bill was literally double. I said, okay, fine, you know what, it's okay. If they sorted the car, that's okay. I think this thing is also on its way out. Before I carry on, so this is telling me that the sun has just damaged, you know, whatever protection was on here. You get little fragments of, you know, the water beading away, especially on that side. But I'm going to be using a drying aid. I'm going to blow the water off and then, you know, balance. I'll use a drying aid just to dry off. But this is why I'm getting a cover in the interim. And then we're going to put up the carport, and you know, it'll help minimize this from happening. So leaf blower, I have looked at these cordless ones. I had one, but it was a crap one. It was, you know, the force it came out wasn't anything to go by. So I went and bought one. It plugs into the wall. It's quite loud. I don't know where my headphones are, but it gets the job done. But I do think a cordless one does make better sense. So yeah. Always my personal opinion again, try and use a drying aid. It just helps, you know, with, you know, moving the water off a lot more quicker. Leave some form of shine on top of whatever you already have. And I'm using this from my friend out in Durban. Jay's spray wax. However, Jay, I don't like this trigger. It's way too small for my finger, and also it doesn't atomize the way I like it. It's too wide. You guys will see a lot of times I change the triggers. The ones that I do like, I've decanted it into this bottle because this doesn't fit on that bottle, this trigger. So yeah, so sent the BM in. Had them do their stuff. Car came back, as I mentioned, the bill was double what initially was quoted to me. I figured, you know what, they're fixing the car properly for me, so that's fine. More like I donated 25,000 Rand to a company. But it is what it is. I'll never make use of their services again. I'm not going to rant online as to they are. I think that's just that's bad. Just as a person, you know, there's no need to do that. But yeah, I've learned my lesson, and the one of the most frustrating parts is the car developed an extremely hard start. So I've gone through how many? I think it's about 3 or 4 because I got the starters, and I bought some generic one. It sounds horrible. That one gave in quite quickly. And then I just bought Bosch units. And so, I don't know why it's doing that, but we have, the general thinking is that the disc, or not the disc, the injectors are leaking. And so that is what's causing the hard start. So, oh yeah, also with a drying aid, you don't need to spray that much. Literally maybe like here 3, 1, 2, 3. Because the surface is wet, you are going to be obviously diluting it a bit more, and it just provides that extra lubrication, and also just adds to the shine. I'm not really chasing after, and when people say you add, you're topping up the protection, especially if you've got a ceramic coating, I think that defeats the whole purpose of having a ceramic coating. Why would a coating need a topper? So you are just, when I say topper for protection, I think that's, me personally, I think that's bollocks. I think it's just adding to the shine, yes, and just helping and making sure that you are not, marring the surface by dry wiping the cloth on the surface. So, because remember, in all of this, we are trying to minimize our chances of scratching up the surface. We don't want to do that. I must say, this smells divine. There's says it on the bottle there. I don't know if it's bubble gum, but it is some nice sweet fragrance. And then with your drying process, always make use of good long hair microfiber cloths. Preferably anything from 400 and up. I don't think anything more. So like, no, 300. Sorry, 300 and up. Between 300 and 500. 600 is very thick. I've actually seen people advertise. What's this? 1,000 GSM. That's literally a towel, like a bathrobe type of thing. Maybe that'll work if you've got a truck that you're busy, or trucks, quite big vehicles that you are cleaning. I think it'll work then. But yeah, so the BM, I've replaced starters. Batteries obviously has run out. So that's a bit of a bummer. Again now, battery is completely dead. So I've already gone to go see another company. I've already procured an engine, so they're just keeping it for me. But so fortunately, I think I've mentioned it, I've got a few more cars, and this car has turned now into my project car. But I'm not going to lie, when I did all of that and I started replacing this and replacing that, I replaced the entire cooling system, water pump, all the pipes, thermostat, all the little flanges and stuff. I had that all replaced, and I even, oh yes, what happened was the oil cooler also packed up. So I ended up with oil in the cooling system. And so that was part of me having to redo the entire cooling system. That was last year. This car has been standing now. I haven't touched it since December. I was like, you know what? I'll deal with this car when I deal with it. I was just so frustrated, and I think what frustrated me the most was that I didn't get a direct answer. So I went with trial and error way of doing things, and obviously it's very expensive because you buy things in the hopes that this is going to be it, and you pray and you pray and you pray. You're like, oh, no, it's not. Back to the drawing board. So yeah, I've now said, you know what, I need to sort it out now, like fully. So yeah, guys, I've tried to keep you entertained for, I think this is about an hour long, I don't know, we'll see when I edit this. But there's a lot happening at MD Workshop. The website, as I mentioned, will be coming along quite nicely and quite speedily very soon. We'll have all the products that we are keeping. You can reach out to us at info@MD Workshop. My team and I will get back to you as soon as we can. If there's anything specific, let me know. I'll try and see what I can do to assist. Especially with content, I'm using the Reflect Tech tire serum for the dressing of the tires. Obviously you can use this on a sponge or whatever applicator pad. That's fine. With the brush it's a little bit more easier. I do also have there's what the sponge, but it's like shaped like a half a moon that you can also use, which is also quite nice. I don't know where that is. It's somewhere in that mess of a garage of mine at the moment. Smells nice. So yeah, the interviews will be coming along. As of next week, I'll be a little bit more mobile. And I'm gonna try and also make a little bit more tutorials. I've had a lot of people actually WhatsApp me and reach out to me via DM with regards to a dual action polisher, and them wanting to, you know, what they need to do. And I'll always say this, it's nothing better than experience. So getting behind the machine, I mean, I can advise you to a certain point, but that's only going to help you to a certain point. I can say do 1, 2, 3, but you know, when you use it on the car, you're like, but this guy's talking nonsense because it's not happening the way he said it would. So my point is that I want to just, I'm just looking at this when I can see the moon, full moon, beautiful. What's today? Today is the 23rd of June. What's this? 25 to 6. Very nice. Sorry about that. I got a bit sidetracked there. Yeah, so I'm gonna make some tutorials, but I need to do a headlight restoration on my Captiva. But I'm not gonna use a kit. I'm gonna be using various grades of sandpaper. And then I'm going to ceramic coat it afterwards. So I want to really want to get into it with that. I think it will help you guys as well. For those of you that want to offer, or they want to have various ways of doing, you know, headlight kits are nice as well because it's a one solution, you know. But sometimes, you know, there's a lot of factors. Either you just can't get hold of the product of the kit, or the headlight that you are busy restoring, you're not getting the desired result from it because the headlights are really far gone. So this one that I'm going to do, you know, you're going to sand with different grades of sandpaper, and you're going to use different polishing pads, different compounds, and we're going to get different results. We're going to get, like, you know, I'll show you what it looks like when it's from a heavy compound and what you need to do thereafter. So it's almost very similar to that of when the car is resprayed and you need to flatten the actual paint. So that's going to be quite a nice one, I think. Again, it's something that for those of you that are aspiring to do this type of thing, you can reference back to, okay, that's what I need to do. So, but that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. And yeah, as usual, don't just clean your car, let's make it shine.